Hello and welcome to MIM TV. My name is Jason Pitt from Made in the Midlands. Today I'm joined by a special guest, Gareth Jones, who's the Managing Director of In-Comm, silver member of Made in the Midlands, been with us for, is it 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years, just over.
Fantastic. We're also a customer, so we've got a young guy who started with us just over a year ago, Jordan, who's in the audience, doing a fantastic job. So anybody out there wondering who builds your Made in the Midlands member microsite, Jordan's the guy who does that. Also makes a fantastic cup of coffee. Okay, first question, Gareth. So In-Comm training is a little bit different to the traditional training company. Do you want to tell us a bit more about the company?
Yeah. So In-Comm Training and Business Services was formed in 1982. It's got heritage back to the 1950s. We used to own a group of training associations, but over the years it got redeveloped. In 1982 it moved from the Hagley Road down to Aldridge, where we are based now. Obviously we opened a couple of other sites. But we've never moved from the traditional engineering skills under the old EITB, and that's founded us in good stead now, has put us in good stead, because everybody that's been through that previously have gone on to be senior leadership team, or they're owners, managing directors of companies, and they like what they've been through themselves, so they can see the value of it and the strength of the foundation and where it took them. So they come back to us now because they like how in-depth that we do our training.
I mean, one of the things I like about the company is, I mean, your private business for the start, which is unusual because you obviously a lot of these apprenticeships are dealt with at college level and they do a good job. But I think you definitely bring a unique twist to it. You bring that sort of energy, which I think only really the private sector can do, and as a result of that, we've found a good apprentice. You've done some fantastic work for some of our members, including Salop, who you've built a training academy.
Yes, we have. Yeah. So me and Chris Green, I was having a chat one evening. It was actually the Made in the Midlands Christmas drinks in 2014. And Chris said to me, we're shipping our apprentices over 50 miles to get the training that we need. So it's a 100-mile round trip. Why don't we have a look at doing something? So me and Christopher got together in the first instance, I think it was about the February time. And we went and had a look at their old tool room that was then. And upstairs was just a storage facility. Well, when we had a look, we looked at the vision, worked out the floor plans, and we could make it happen. We didn't start the work until July, and it was actually open in the September. And there's a gentleman there called Lee Pearson. Lee Pearson, to be fair, the building work that he did to make sure that training centre got to where it was absolutely fantastic.
It is a fantastic setup.
Yeah. We made the national press, we the Daily Express because of it, because the one thing about training is that we should be giving industry a leg up. We should be the support mechanism to your growth strategies, to your development. So we need to be there, ingrained in what you want, delivering what industry needs. And that was the one thing that was praised of. It was actually a model where a manufacturer and a training provider have got together to actually do something about the requirement of the skills gap. But we have took that one stage further as well now. We've just teamed up with a couple of large manufacturers in the Shropshire area. So we're looking at our third facility now. Salop are also involved in that facility as well. And that will be open by the 31st of March 2017. It hasn't started being built yet, but it's going to be a 36,000 square foot facility. And there's absolutely nothing it's not going to have, including a 250-seater theatre.
Brilliant. It sounds like you're growing fast, and I know that you probably need to, and so does industry, because we've got something like a 15 to 20 year skills gap, and people not passing on their knowledge, falling off the end. And how are you tackling that problem, or how can companies tackle that problem?
Well, the one thing that I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday called Douglas Allen, and we was having a chat, and it's about the competency gap. So for competency, you need two things, and that's knowledge and experience. So it's okay having these individuals in and teaching them, but it's having the experienced staff inside your facilities to be able to teach them, yes, the basics, but also the problem-solving elements. Yep. Because they've been and got 30 years experience, they're obviously going to have been shown or been exposed to that many problems, and they've thought on the feet and got different ways of tackling these problems. So, everybody that works in our facilities has come from industry. We've got foundrymen, tool makers, design engineers, and they've all come, maintenance engineers, they've all come from industry. So they're along bringing their experience as well. So that's the thing to create competency. The other thing with industry that's, I believe, has got to do is start investing in the youth, but also the training programs. That many times you've had, we've had companies come to us saying, "Right, we want to create a maintenance engineer." Okay, then the first year is either going to be 2 days off the job or full time off the job. No, you can only have them 1 day a week or 1 day every other week. You can't create a brain surgeon by never going to school.
No.
So you know there's some give and take, and that's the investment. And I know it is a risk because you're not sure where the apprentice is going to go, etc. But inevitably you've got to be able to give them the education and the and the time to expose them to what they need to be exposed to develop to get the experience.
Yeah, and obviously recently we voted to leave the European Union. I guess in many ways we were using the EU as a way of plugging the skills gap by taking people from other countries and putting them straight into industry. A lot of companies have got EU nationals working their businesses. We've decided to leave the EU, rightly or wrongly, and as a result of that, apprenticeships, investing in the new generation probably is more important than at any time in the recent history. So with that in mind, apprenticeships in England are in the process of undergoing a dramatic transformation, which you're going to know more about than me. So as a result of government reforms, new style of apprenticeships has been designed to meet the changing needs of employers. Do you want to tell me a bit more about the apprenticeship levy first of all, and then also the Trailblazer apprenticeships and what they aim to do?
I was with a group of OEMs a couple of weeks ago, and they're coming up with different strategies on how to spend the levy. So first of all, the levy comes into play on the 1st of April 2017. So anybody with a 3 million plus payroll turnover will be open to paying the levy at 0.5%, and that will be derived through your PAYE.
Right.
So every month you'll have an allowance that comes into your digital apprenticeship service, and that allowance can be spent on apprenticeship training. But the problem being, some companies are looking at it because they employ that many, and you're talking hundreds of thousands of pounds per month they're going to have to pay. Well, the strategy isn't just about taking on new blood. The strategy is also about looking at development inside their existing staff, to be able to make sure that they spend this wisely. It's not just spending for spending's sake. It's a case of somebody that's stepping up as they've been on the tools for 20 years and then stepping up into a managerial role. It's a case of putting them through what would be known as a apprenticeship, but into a management apprenticeship to nurture them through. So there are various strategies being derived now to actually look at how you can develop the staff internally. So one thing, it is driving people to think about the skills agenda. The government want to create 3 million apprenticeship starts by 2020. Originally that was 16 to 18 year olds. That's been absolutely wiped out because I think they've realised all of a sudden that was a massive task to adhere to. But the one thing this levy is doing is stimulating the focus, and the focus on vocational training that's come back just of late is absolutely fantastic, because I think we all know one route and one route only, especially in the service sectors like the UK did, was university, and it's not the only route into employment. And not everybody becomes the best that they can possibly be by going that route as well. So it's actually learning in the workplace. So the emphasis on vocational training that's come about now is absolutely phenomenal. It's brilliant to see back.
It's fantastic, and we need a mixed economy. We can't all be accountants, bankers or lawyers. We need people in every sector, so service sector, manufacturing, construction.
Well, if you look at the GDP, I think we're about 12%. If you're going to look at the Germany's, they're in the 20s.
Yep.
To have a strong economy, you've got to be making something.
Absolutely.
And again, the one thing that I think the government needs to do here as well, or as a whole, is to generate some money on innovation, business startups. Because the amount of youngsters we get through, and again, Made in the Midlands do the Young Inventor. We had a winner of the Young Inventor with the toolbox tidy a couple of years back. There wasn't any investment from anywhere to take that the next stage, and it was actually a really good idea that young man had and developed from a prototype. So, that then is where these shoot-offs come into setting up organisations for the future.
Well, you mentioned the Young Inventor. You also do your own apprenticeship awards, and one thing I really like about that, because I went to the one that you did recently in Wolverhampton, is it creates a buzz, and the young people are there, often with the families, and they get to sort of go up on stage, say a few words, and that's really sort of creating that sort of energy, excitement and buzz around engineering, and it's not just simply a job. It's something more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I'll thank you for saying that, because the one thing we've tried to do now, because I think you remember it from the earlier days to where it is now, we've tried to make it prestigious. And the thing is, it should be prestigious. These young individuals, you know, some of them have done a 5 to 7 year apprenticeship, and for the likes of university to get a graduation, etc., etc. So why shouldn't they have their moment in time as well to be able to celebrate the route that they've chosen, celebrate the goals that they've met over a period of time, and not only that, some of them have come over serious difficulties to get where they've got to be. So that's what that's designed for, is to bring some focus on it. You give them a good feeling about what they're doing, because they are doing something that's actually very special.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much for your time, Gareth.
Thank
How
you
can
very
people
much.
get in contact with you?
Yeah, so please pick up the phone. It's 01922 457 686, or send me an email, which is garethj@in-comm.co.uk. We're happy to talk to anybody, selflessly as well, impartial advice, anything to do with your skills agenda, we're happy to have a look at.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.